Giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Shabbat Shem. And I'm going to entitle this Shame, Shame, Shame Update. I received a notification from GMS Rebuke the Tempter. Shalom to you. It says comment 319 mark of that video. Check it out. Baba Kosha, Apostle, keep listening. He mentions them. He didn't mention me. And he still was deceptive because I want you to listen.
By 7 elders. It was Masha, Ariel, Yaakov, followed by
His main teacher was me because he was in my camp. His main teacher was me. So he should have mentioned me. Because when you have camps, the people that come into the camp, let's say like the camp out in Dallas, the brothers that come into the camp under the leadership of GMS Dallas or Houston or LA or Chicago, they're coming up under the leadership. They're learning. They're not necessarily learning from us. They might have started learning from us, so they learn from us, but they also learn from the leaders of the different camps. So the guy that taught him the most was myself, as he was also going to classes too. So he learned from them. But that's okay. He mentioned the 7. But let's listen to some more of this deception. Watch how he's deceptively goes into this. Watch how he says this, man. He's a slick cat.
those were the 7 elements. 1990 to 19. Then the information that was found in the school split. Masha started another school. Yaakov died.
Why did Masha establish another school? Because you, this guy, Yasha, priest Yasha, whatever his title was at the time, Rahab, and some others, Payalaba, and some others, you guys had a clique. You know, you were kind of doing your own thing. And you went to Masha, you got to Masha's ear. Let's bring out the whole truth. You got to King Masha or Masha. We wouldn't call him King Masha. We just call him Masha. You know, High Priest Masha. We didn't call him King. You got to, you and those men that I mentioned, you got to his ear and said, we got to get out of here. We got to start our own thing. And you had an opening with this guy. What's this guy's name? He's in the spiritual realm. He got old and passed away. That nigga. Damn. A mafia. He had a school on 126th Street that you guys knew about. So you said, oh, this is perfect. We got a school to go to. Because if you didn't have a school, there would be no place for you to go to. So what you did was you just gathered certain people, which you didn't mention it to me, because you didn't want me to go to the new school. There were certain guys you didn't want to go with y'all. You obviously didn't want to deal with the rest of the 7. You didn't want to deal with Ariel because you didn't let you went behind Ariel's back, which was one of the that you mentioned. You went behind Yaakov's back. Lahab was already out of there because he was being wicked, and that wickedness caught up to his ass. You didn't mention it to Yeshaya. Your leaders that you said, the 7, you didn't mention it to the Kazakh, you didn't mention it to myself. You had some scheme, some plan, some what's the word? Conspiracy, which you said conspiracy theories are for nuts. That was a conspiracy. But I knew because brother people come back and tell me. And the reason why one of the reasons why, or two of the reasons, one reason is, number one, if you would have told me, I would call the council and say, no, we got to fix this. The scriptures tell you about that. You know, it tells you about you got to come together. It speaks about counsel, okay, to straighten things, to restore things in its order. You have to have a council. Now I remember it was Yasha that spoke up because he had a big mouth. He talked loud, and he basically cursed out the rest of the seven, you know, and they did it in the name of Mashar because they came up with this thing called the 12 Kings, which there was seven of them. I don't know how you get 7 out of 12. So it was a thing where money was involved in that too. They had the oil tables. Certain guys were bringing in money, and a lot of these guys slowed down their teaching because they were making money. They were going to the dealership buying new. Most of the car of choice was that was a drug dealer's car, which was the Jeep was it the Jeep Cherokee, the old school one. Back in the day, it looked good. I mean, they still got the Jeep Cherokee. That's a nice looking little wagon there, right? So that, and they had the fake ass flip phones with the bootleg service where you lose a service. You lose a service, then you had to go back to the dude. Then he had to kind of steal the service from a real, like one of them. It was they stole the service from this guy, not Mayor Koch, but Giuliani. He was going over a bridge, and somebody put the thing and stole his number, and then gave it to, that's how they get the service on the phone. So you would have the phone working for a couple of months. That old gray ass flip phone, the one that Captain Kirk used to have, that's what it looked like. He flipped it out and you start talking, right? And not too many people had. I certainly didn't have a phone, right? So, if the phone goes out of service, you catch up with the guy, you say, yo, man, my phone, well, don't just give me it for a day. I'll steal another number service and I'll give it to you. That's when you had the brand new car, you pulled out the flip phones. You niggas were the shits. So it was a thing where Mo, they didn't like Mo, the fact that there's no number one king. We question whether you King David and all that. And there's really 12 kings. So these guys jumped on that and they whispered at Mo. Like I said, they didn't tell me about it. They didn't tell the rest of the seven, which it was 6 at that time. Let me see. Like I said, they didn't tell me because they knew I would call a council. Said, no, we got to call a council. We got to straighten this thing out. Another reason they didn't want me to go anyway, and part of the reason why they didn't want me to go, because I was real close to High Priest Ariyah, but I was also real close to to Mashah. Remember, I knew where Ariyah lived. I knew where Yaquab lived. I knew where Shaw lived. I knew where Lahab. I knew where all of them lived. All right? Excuse me. I knew where Mo lived in the Bronx. I can tell you exactly where he lived in the Bronx, and I can tell you exactly where he lived when he moved down to Manhattan. I can give you the floor, the building, and all that. So all you guys that say you know Mo, you don't know Mo. I knew his whole. I was like a member of the family, man. I knew his whole family. I knew his grandkids. All right. I knew his daughters, his sons. I knew the whole damn family. I knew his wife. Hey, when Mo was in the hospital. Oh, and another thing about these guys had all the money, and they were working with Mo, but they were like the treasurers, and Mo was, he would get, well, if he needed money, he got it, at the main school, and he made a statement, but it was a foolhardy statement. He said, "I don't need no money. I don't need." First of all, he was speaking foolishly. So when they set up the new school, they didn't give Mo a penny, and I had to speak up for Mo, and say, no, you gotta take it. That's the king. How the hell you gonna take care of the king? He don't get nothing. If the man needs money, well, there was a situation, and I didn't know about it. Me and my cousin Yohanabar, had we knew about it, we would have done something about it. They had King Marshall driving around in a car with no heater core, or the heater core wasn't working. Now I've been through, back when you had a car and the heated core, and back then it was like $500, $300 or whatever. And who the hell got that type of money? So I did that many a times. I had cars where the heater core went, and I drove with like extra coats on. So you got this man up in age in his 60s driving around in the wintertime with a and you can come talk to me, Bishop Nate, about it, and you tell me I'm a liar. All right. Now I don't know if you knew about it, but you should have knew about it because you were part of the council and you guys had the money. If I said, wait, Mo got a problem with the thing, we need a heater core. How much is it? Get a price on it. Was it $500? 500 back was a lot. Give him the $500 or at least take a collection or whatever. The man, or at least try to get the man a car that works. And he wound up not making it to one council, which they had 1,000,001 fucking councils. Every week they had an emergency council. When we would get ready to go to speak up in Connecticut, we would speak on the Saturdays like we normally did. These guys really wasn't into speaking. They would call, oh, y'all got to come down. There's an emergency meeting. Okay, let's go down there, be some bullshit. Oh, we changing this scripture, we changing that scripture. This means that don't mean y'all broke it down wrong, this, that, and the third. And so we come down, and then next week, the same thing. Week number 2, y'all can't go out and speak. We have an emergency meeting. They come down, same old bullshit, right? Then we like, this is some bullshit. It's like every fucking week, we can't go out and speak. These guys, the scripture says, quench not the spirit, right? Because we were accustomed to going out like we do now. We just do it. Even if there's certain days you don't want to go out. Like the cold is coming out. We don't want to really be out there in the cold. But guess what? We got to be out in the cold because the scriptures speak about being on the highways and the byways, right? That's part of the tradition, so to speak, which is scriptural. So let me get back to it. So we're going to these meetings, and then we're having our classes. And when it was me, it was myself, it was Gabar, and it was, I forget this guy's name, Benjamite, which I ain't like that. I ain't trust that nigga anyway. He came off like a Hamite to me, but I remember we gave him a nickname. We called him Zombie Bond. Zombie meaning zombie, and Bond meaning son of the zombie. So we used to call this guy behind his back. We had nicknames for everybody. We used to call him Zombie Bond, son of the zombie. I remember when he had a child, and he brought his kid over, and the kid cried, but it cried like a Hamite. And even Bishop Nate snapped on the kid. He said, "Man, you sure your woman, snuck out on you or something like that? Because he cries like a Hamite." and I remember we used to snap, and mainly Ricard, Apostle Ricard, he would do it. He would do the cry. He would sound just like the baby. The baby would go, wah, wah. I said, what kind of Jake baby cry like that? I'm not making jokes. I'm not being funny. I'm just being real. But we used to snap on this guy, right? Anyway, we had to set up the classes. Monday class was, they said, well, Tahar, you can have the class of your choice. I said, I'll take Monday. So it was myself on Mondays. It was myself. It was this guy, Apostle Gabar, and it was Zombie Bond. So we had our classes. No big deal. We had to build it up, So we would have the class. Zombie Bond never showed up, and he never showed up at all. And these guys were saying, "Oh, you guys got a little class. Ain't nobody coming to your classes." Half joking around when they were drunk and we'd sit down and all that. So we said, "Oh, that's okay." And our first student was this guy. Remember in YouTube, back when we got on YouTube, this guy that we labeled Danger Mouse. This little short guy from England with the white suit, and he had a bunch of zombies with white suits. If y'all remember back in 07, 08, 09, but he stopped. He became disenchanted. But he was our first student, and he was from England. But he was cousins to these 3 guys. I forgot their names, man. Damn. I forgot their names, but they eventually fell out. But anyway, that class that myself and Apostle Gabar had, and Gabar come back and say it. We would work and we would like leave work to go teach the class. You know what I'm saying? We would have runs, we would do the class, then we would go back to work after the class. So every week, Zombie Bond never showed up. Oh, I got this to take care of. I got that to take care of. I got to do this. And let me see if I'm right. Okay. I'm just checking my screen here. See if I'm still on here. And when the thing got big, because we would show, videos on the Illuminati, Jordan Maxwell, all these different conspiracy videos. Then we would turn the video machine off, and then we would have classes on that, and we were going into breakdowns and stuff. So that class got so big that it was standing room only. And guess who used to come to our classes? Bishop Nate used to be in the audience, Rahab used to be in the audience, and other guys. Then they had a spy, which we labeled him the California Raisin, because he's from California, and he looked like the California Raisin. Remember that this guy goes back. You had a commercial on the California Raisins. They were like the Temptations. So we call this guy the California Raisin because he was a black raisin. And this guy, we would be teaching, and he'd get on the phone, and he'd be looking at us dirty. And he'd say, yeah, they both here. They showed up. So we like, what? This nigga must be a spy or something, right? And it was one time we was up there teaching, and Gabar kind of said, but I heard this from Ariah. Before the split, Ariah said, I believe that Cornelius is an Israelite. And I told that story before. I'm not going to go into it, but that was kind of squashed because of this whole mess. But then we were going through Acts the 10th chapter, and Apostle Gabar thought out loud, you know what, man? Cornelius got to be an Israelite. So I kind of patted him. I said, no, keep it down. We got these, let's talk about it on the side. But the California Raisin got it, and he called them, and then all of a sudden we had a major council. Well, actually, they came down. This guy, he came down. We was in the back room. A mafia, that nigga, he was there. And certain other brothers were there, and we were in the back room. So I showed him out the scriptures, and Bishop Nate said, I don't see it. And then a mafia said, I remember how he said it. He said, close the book, close the book, close the book. Bishop Nate said, what you mean close the book? He said, you don't got to read no more, Tahar. He said, Cornelius is an Israelite. And then this guy goes, what? And he said, and he points his finger. A mafia points his finger, old ass mafia. I can picture him now. He had these raggedy ass cornrows that looked like a big sack of hay. You were an old nigga. Don't get no cornrows when you're like 90 years old. All right, it just don't look right. And anyway, life is funny. Anyway, he pointed at currently Bishop Nathaniel, and he said, if you went, you can't see it. If you went on the fast, you'll see it. And Bishop Nate still couldn't see it. So we had another major council. So they're bringing me up on charges because I'm teaching that Cornelius is an Israelite and Gabar is teaching it. And we were willing to break it down. But mind you, he now teaches that Cornelius is an Israelite, right? All them guys teach it. All of them teach that Cornelius is an Israelite. This is why we got kicked out, because we were saying that Cornelius is an Israelite. And we even said, well, we won't teach it. We won't teach it. Then I even said, cast a lot. He said, don't. His head almost went to the ceiling. You can't Tahar because that's wicked. I can show you scriptures where casting a lot, Matthias wouldn't be a part of the 12 if they didn't cast a lot. So is that a wicked act? Prove all things and hold fast to that, which is good. So we have the council, and Bunyamya, and he's with it. Oh, I can see it. A mafia, I can see it. When we had the council, most of the people said, we don't see that, y'all going off. So I said, well, wait a minute. Bunyamya, you said you saw it. This brother, you said you saw it. And the mafia, you said you saw it. He said, well, I didn't say nothing. And I called him a straight up liar in his face. I said, you a liar. I said, you a goddamn liar. He said, don't be calling me. I said, I'm calling you a liar because you a damn liar, man. You said it. And I asked other, I said, didn't he say? He said, yeah. Then he brought it up. He said, I don't like the fact that people call me a liar. And everybody, be quiet, shut up, be quiet. So that led to another council with the whole Cornelius thing, and they couldn't see it. And we showed them, and guess what? They said, because you teaching that nonsense, you guys got to come to the Sabbath class 6 a.m. Basically, they were punishing us. That was the council, right? So I took low. I said, no problem. I'll be there 6 a.m. I get up early anyway. It ain't no big thing to me. And then they had a judgment already set. Before the council, the judgment was already set. So this old hairy goat, Billy Goat nigga, which is in the spiritual realm, all right, which when he sees us in the kingdom, he gonna bow his head down to us, and we're gonna pat him on the back, and we say, that's all right, nigga, get your head back up. He said, I remember, he said, Ryan Lab, Ricard was there. Ricard even got into a fight. He broke the door because Ricard was, you think Ricard was hot-headed now? He was really hot-headed. He kicked the door in. He wanted to fight everybody. All right. Everybody is all shooken up. So this nigga, this old black Billy Goat, he said, let's read the judgment. And then they said that we got to go to come to the school 6 a.m. for the Sabbath. And then they said, oh, we can't teach no more. Dar, you can't teach. Bar, you can't teach. And Ricard, you can't teach. That's what, first of all, Ricard's not one of the teachers. So what the fuck you talking about? All right. So tell the whole story, my man. So then I said, okay, cool. I said, we won't teach it, no big deal. Knowing that it's going to come out anyway through the spirit. And so we go to pray. Then they looked at us and they said, you know what, man? You guys are out of school. I said, wait a minute. I thought you just brought the judgment. You guys are out of school. And then Rahab, that nigga, that demon, that adulterer, because he committed adultery with Barak of the HODC, and everybody knew that Barak was dealing with that chick. They would all go home together, hand in hand, and he goes and pops the chick, and then he says, oh, I didn't know they were dealing with one another. Now, if Barak had a backbone, he would have ran that nigga over. Because if you do that, let me tell you something, brother. You do that to me, I got a woman that I'm in love with, I'm going to kill your ass. And I'm going to go right to the judge and I'm going to bring out Proverbs 6. All right? And I'm going to plead temporary insanity. Because if you love a woman and another man's dealing with that woman, you are looking to kill that nigga and your wife. All right? So this nigga was a damn adulterer, but nobody brought, and there was a lot of adultery going on in that school. That's, like I said, that school became a fucking whorehouse, man. That's why we here at GMS, we don't got no woman coming around us. You got a woman, oh, Tahar, I want you to meet my wife. I don't want to meet your fucking wife, man. You know? So let me get back to it. So basically, we said, oh, no problem. We'll come to this. We'll bow down to your wishes. We'll come up 6 a.m. and so forth. No big deal. So they got mad at that. And they said, y'all guys are out of school. I said, what you mean? Y'all just out of school. And they just kicked us out. So we were like, okay, we out of school. We had the classes up in Connecticut. And you know them niggas, what was it, 2 weeks later or something? They try to, and there was another nigga that was part of Connecticut. He's in the spiritual world, that big knock-worse head, back of the neck nigga, knock-worse ass nigga, Benjamite. The Most High took his black ass. Okay? The Most High took, the whole family fell out, but the wife, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Barak, the wife, he had a son, which was cool with us. He fell off, but we was always cool. Even brothers running to him today, they cool with the brother. Was a nickname. We used to call him Mean Dean because his name was Dean, so we used to call him Mean Dean. But I forget his Hebrew name. But he was cool. But his sister was a damn demon, and they pretty much fell off. And she fell off, and she wound up getting pregnant and she died on the operating table with a bed. No, she said the baby's dead, and then she died right after. So we knew that was a judgment of the Most High. The Most High took out that black knockwish head nigga. He took his ass out. Now his wife was cool as hell. Anytime she would come into money, brother, she no, y'all brothers need money. Anytime she come into some money or hit the lotto or something like that, she would always come and offer money, man. She was always like that. So bless her, man. I hope she's doing good. You know, she was, and that was in sincereness, you know. But anyway, he was behind that whole thing on the phone with Yasha scheming, and he was going to have Yasha come up on a Sunday, but then the Spirit had me come up on a Sunday, and we said we're going to go on a Day of Atonement type fast, just in case we're going off on a Cornelius thing, just in case we're covering our ass. If we're humbling ourselves to the Lord, then the Most High going to show us the truth, right? We know that Cornelius is Israelite because this guy teaches, and the rest of them teach it. So they came up there, and they said, "What happened? Y'all don't come to school no more." I said, "Then y'all kick us out?" "Oh yeah, well we're gonna work it out. We're gonna come back. We're gonna have a council." So I told him, "Look," I said, "don't call us. We'll call you." And he got the message. It never came back. And you know what happened? Now he got to tell the whole story. Him and the rest of them, they were saying, "Oh, we don't got to go out on the highways and the byways." So for about a year or two, they didn't go out. But then they started going back out. But every time they would go out, they would set up a camp down the street from us. When we was up in Harlem, they set up a camp down the street from us. When we was on 34th Street, they set up a camp down the street from us. And then we confronted the camp and the California Ranger was there, and we confronted them guys about why you down here, you know? Because we were young and we were bold, right? You know, we rolled up on them. And I said, every time we set up a camp, they find out where we set up a camp, and they go two streets down and set up a goddamn camp. But wait a minute, I thought you guys said y'all don't got to go out on camp no more. And then they said they had this one doctrine. The scriptures say, "Meddle not with him that is given to change," right? They had this one doctrine that if your wife is not a believer, which he teaches that today, your wife, if you come into the truth as a man, you got a wife, and she's a Baptist, and you, whatever, you come in the truth, she got to come in the truth, and your family got to come in the truth. Now, what did the Apostle Paul say? The Apostle Paul said, if you have an unbelieving wife, if you have an unbelieving husband, if they be pleased to dwell with you, then you can't break up. All right? You got the calling, not your wife. Another thing that he did, remember there was a time where they said, we don't got to go out and speak no more. Now they out there speaking and marching and all that, right? Another thing he did, and he called, and the witness was this man here. He had my number. Years later, he called me out the blue, and he explained to me that union that they had, that clique that they had, split up. And he said, why? He went into the whole thing about if you have a wife that's not a believer, you got to cut her off. All them guys went home and told their wife, look, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with you no more because you ain't in the truth. What's going on? What's going on? Yesterday we had sex. We were good. Everything. I cooked you a nice dinner. What's going on now? Fuck you, bitch. You don't believe you're an Israelite. I'm out of here. And that's what they did. That's what these crazy niggas did, man. Now, I believe that this is coming out of his mouth. He said his wife stayed with him because his wife was a believer. When he came into the truth, his wife came into the truth with him. All right. What else am I going to say? Oh, he told me the reason why Mo, and I told Mo, because we were hanging out with Mo. We were taking Mo out to dinner and all that behind these niggas' backs. And I told Mo, I said, they're going to wind up kicking your ass out too, Mo. He said, they ain't going to kick me out. I'm the king. You know, they ain't going to kick me out. I'm the head guy. They need me. What happened? They wound up kicking Mo out. And I remember when Mo, we call him Mo. I call him the Friday Mo, you know, because we were like family. Mo, you know, Mo, Masha. I remember when he got sick, he went to the hospital. We would visit him. We were the only people that this man never visited him. And I remember he came down to 34th Street, and I was happy to see him. And then he said, how's King Marshall doing? Because he knew he was in the hospital. I said, why don't you go to the hospital and go visit him so you can find out? So he kind of put his, I remember that. I don't know if he remembers it, but here we were going, me and my cousin, me and Yohanaba, we were going to that hospital as just as much as the family, just as much as the wife. We would go there like sometime we go Monday, then we might go on a Wednesday, then we might go on a Saturday. We were going like maybe every other day or once every 3 days. And then the last time I saw Mo was on a Thursday. And then I think it was a Saturday, my cousin called me and said, oh, Mo passed. And I remember I couldn't even sleep on my bed with my girl. I slept on the floor. So I'm just giving you what's going down, man. So, because as you listen to the rest of this, he said, then somehow the split came. Yeah, you was involved with it, along with your Asha Rahab and the rest of your Pai Alaba. So let's listen to a little bit more, and I'm gonna close it. Who made things topsy-turvy? You guys. You were topsy-turvy because of the king thing. And you had Mose there. Remember, you didn't tell me nothing. And I found out anyway. And I wound up coming to the school. And y'all had it in the plans to get rid of me any damn way. Because one reason was we had a council, and I made a statement. I said, this council is, you guys are the wickedest council I've ever been in. I said, you guys make the council at One West look like the angels of heaven. And they got mad at that, man. They wouldn't let that down. Matter of fact, Yasha got so mad, he didn't even want to talk to me on the phone. I would call him, we'd be talking, he'll hang up the phone. Then I'll see him, I'll say, why you hang up the phone? He said, I didn't hang up the phone. I had to rush to the bathroom, which was bullshit, man. Because I used to go to this man's house. I knew his wife, I knew his son. Matter of fact, I picked up his daughter a couple of years back. And I told her, I said, you got a brother, right? Yeah, I said, I remember your brother when he was born. Oh my goodness. And she's a grown woman, you know? So let's listen to some more. No, it wasn't no everyone separated with their own way. You guys caused that major split. And I'm mentioning you because those other guys are no longer in this thing. They might know that they're Israelites, but they're not on the highways and the byways and doing sit downs and YouTube videos. So don't give me that shit. It was a split. You guys let Marsha out of there, and then you broke up. And by the way, Marsha and Arya, they're actually family. Marsha, Arya, and Yaquab, they're actually family. They're actually related. So y'all didn't know that. Like David was related to Joab. Marsha was related to Arya and Yaquab. You know, when you put that family tree together, it comes together at one point. So that's a spiritual union. And that was a major thing that you did. Let's listen to a little bit more.
So that's when I established in 2003.
Oh, let me bring this back. Oh, look at him like this. Oh, he said this and he told me this on the phone. This is him telling me about if you didn't have a wife that was in the truth, which like I said, 1 Corinthians, the 7th chapter, read that. It says you can have a wife that's an unbeliever. A wife can have a husband that's an unbeliever, all right? Another thing he said was, oh, we don't have to keep the law. We're under grace. And you got to prove that you're not keeping the law by eating pork in front of us. This is what he told me. This is what he told me on the phone. Now he can say that he never said that, but that's what he told me over the phone. Remember, I didn't have his number. He had my number. And he had it from a guy, a Simeonite dude that kept trying to, you got to get back together. Y'all got to get back together. I said, we ain't getting back together with them niggas. Years later, I run into this Simeonite guy, and he said, you were right, Tahar. Them guys are niggas. I haven't seen him since. So let's listen to a little bit more.
Yaakov died. Then Yaakov died. They were up in age. They passed away, and things got topsy-turvy. So everyone separated with their own way.
That's after y'all kicked us out. I don't know what happened after that. I heard stories after it. What happened was y'all became Reservoir Dogs. You should watch that movie, Reservoir Dogs.
That's when I established in 2003 Israel United. That's what it turned.
Okay, so when people are out here and they see some of the groups in the street, right?
Yes.
Not just including your group, it can get confusing for a lot of people because it's like you have so many different camps out here. What set off all these different offshoots of different camps is because people couldn't really come underneath the leadership, or what spurred all that out?
Well, many things that separate, the main thing that separates many of the, we all teach that we're Israel one. According to Revelation 14:12, we all teach that we got to keep the commandments and have the faith in Christ. The discrepancy comes, for example, 1 Corinthians 7:2, where it reads, nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. So many of the Israelites believe in polygamy, or polygyny, as they say.
Yeah, polygamy is biblical. Okay. So it's a sin that you do it now, but in the kingdom of heaven, it's not going to be a sin. That's his doctrine, man. And that's why this guy makes these guys, when they get up in rank, he said, you are a deacon now, and you are a bishop. Do some research on the word bishop or the title bishop, and do some research on the title deacon. It says a deacon and a bishop can only have one wife. So he's slick. He makes them guys bishops and deacons. So if they got a little chick on the side, remember, brother, you're a bishop. He's slick. That's why I call it the gospel according to Bishop Nathaniel. He said some guys teach you can have more than one wife. The Bible, we teach that because the Bible teaches that. If a man has more than one wife, as long as he's not committing adultery, you'll kick him out the school. If a man wants to have 5 women, that's your problem, brother. Don't come running to me. That's your problem. And this guy, he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what's going on because he's not of the elect. He doesn't know what's going on.
Issue because, like myself, I said when I read that, it says let every woman have her own husband. So that was a disturbance. So many of them want the multiple girlfriends, and from what I can read, I see one wife, like it says, and I'll give you another one.
Yeah, but at the same time, you say that one wife that you can have, she got to believe that she's an Israelite. She got to believe. She got to put the fringes on. She got to do everything that the Israelite does according to her husband, and the other way around. The wife being an Israelite. If you have a man that's a Muslim, if he don't get himself right, you got to cut him off, and then you got to get with an Israelite man. That's not in the scriptures. It's ironic that he went to 1 Corinthians 7 chapter and 2nd verse, because as you read down, it speaks about the unbelieving wife, that if she be pleased to dwell, and vice versa. So what about that? What about that? The scriptures speak about adding and taking away from the word. And like I said, Scott don't know what's going on. Philip Scott, he don't know what's going on. If I was on the show, I would just tell him, I'll give him the straight skinny. I said, we're Israelites. The Most High is dealing with the elect of Israel. The Most High is getting ready to destroy this place. If you're not in this truth, you're going to be destroyed according to our belief. So if you don't get it, you're going to be destroyed. They don't teach nothing about this place being destroyed.
First Timothy chapter 3 and verse 1, where it reads, let me read it. It says, this is a true saying, if a man desires to silver, he desires good work.
That's why he calls them guys bishops. Oh, you a bishop, brother. You a deacon, brother. Because a deacon can only have one wife and a bishop can only have one wife.
Please read it. It says, a bishop then must be blameless, the husband of one wife, vigilant, sober, of good behavior.
That doesn't apply to me because I'm not a bishop. If I want to have another woman, another 5 women on the side, I can have that.
It is given hospitality.
Like that song goes, you can have whatever you like.
So reading that, from what I'm seeing, it says one, we gotta learn to grow together. Like the scripture said, the two shall be one flesh in Matthew 19. So I do know that in the coming kingdom on earth, the Bible prophesies that men will have more than one, but that's in the coming kingdom, and we are changed.
Nope. Let's go to the scripture. Wait a minute now. Hold up now. Let's go to Isaiah. Isaiah 4. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread. So in the kingdom of heaven, we're going to have a bunch of wives, and they're going to work. They're going to eat their own bread. No, they're going to be taken care of through us. So this is before the kingdom. And wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. Take away your reproaches, you get the name of the man, and you have a children. That's in Luke. Let me do this. When Elizabeth became pregnant, bear with me for a minute. It's in the book of Luke. I'm not going to do a whole lesson on reproach. That could be a lesson in itself. Okay, Luke 1, verse 24-5. Thus hath the Lord dealt with me in the days wherein he looked on me to take away my reproach among men. Let's see who's speaking here. All right, let me see. Okay, 24 verse. Luke 1, verse 24. And after those days, his wife Elizabeth conceived, meaning they had sex, and she became pregnant, and hid herself 5 months, saying, thus saith the Lord, thus hath the Lord dealt with me in these days, wherein he looked on me to take away my reproach. What does it mean to take away your reproach? Let's look into it. I already know what it means. To have a man. That's why if a woman doesn't have a man at a certain age, what they call her, an old maid. Take away my reproach.
Strong's G 3681.
Anidas, which means reproach, shame. It doesn't really tell you too much, but it means to have a man and to become pregnant with that man. The scriptures say they shall be saved in childbearing only if they continue in the faith. Now, all these unbelieving women, when all hell breaks loose, they're going to start believing. Okay, so I covered that. So he's playing with the scriptures. Now let's come back. Let's come back over here to Isaiah. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. To have a man and for a man to impregnate you. Because that's what that's the purpose of a woman, is to help me to the man. Now, there's a big thing on the great doctrine Well, when you go back, I went through the word, the term, not the word, the term arranged marriage. Even Esau knows what that is. Let me look that up. Arranged marriage, Bible. Wow. Wow. Did you hear that? I didn't think that you heard it. She said when there's an arranged marriage, the divorce rate is like 4%. But in America, the divorce rate is almost 50%. So they're saying in an arranged marriage, the couples stay together. Arranged marriage Bible. When Jacob received Rachel and Leah and their two handmaids, that Rachel and Leah didn't have a choice in the matter. It was Laban that said, that's why he said he made a deal. You work 7 years for me, you get Rachel. And to tell you in the scripture that she was nice on the eyes. She was better looking than her sister. I remember these two sisters. The one was way finer than the other one, but the one that wasn't as fine, she was fine too. But the other one was finer. And it always happens that way, seems like. So he wanted to, it didn't say whether she was, no, it did say she was a younger one. Because the custom and the unwritten law, whatever you want to call it, was the oldest one to be given away first. So he pulled a Yaquab on Yaquab, and Yaquab put a Yaquab on him, meaning supplanted him. He supplanted him, and he came back and supplanted him, right? So he wound up getting Rachel and Leah. Now, what if Rachel didn't like Jacob? Too bad. That was an arrangement that Jacob and Laban made. His two daughters didn't have nothing to do with it. They were sitting, they're making this is a business deal. The same thing with Isaac and Rebekah. When Isaac and Rebekah got together, went into the tent, into Sarah's tent, he popped it straight up right then and there, man. They never met. They never went on a date. They never walked out with each other. Abraham sent out his servant, his faithful servant. I believe his name is Eliezer. If I'm not right, please correct me. I'm not going to go look for it, but I'm almost positive it's Eliezer. And he loved his servant so much that he said he wanted the inheritance to go to him. So that's some love, man. That was a faithful servant. He sent them out with riches. He would always come back. That's a faithful servant. And he wasn't even an Israelite. You know, he wasn't even necessarily a Hebrew. He wasn't from that line. So what happened was he sent him out to find a bride for his son, Isaac. So there was an arrangement already made, right? By the way, they were cousins. There was an arrangement made, and so the servant said, "Yeah, she's a good-looking woman." He said, "Isaac is gonna really, he gonna flip his wig when he sees this woman, you know." And he must have been extremely handsome, because when she saw him, she said, "Who's this?" You know. And he said, that's your Lord. That's your Lord. That's your husband. Okay. And they went right into the tent. And then it said, when they went into the tent, he was depressed because of his mother Sarah dying. Ain't I a good storyteller? Tell the truth. Anyway, they went into the tent. He disrobed her, and she was with it. She had no problem with it. And he laid down with her. And then guess what? He was no longer depressed he got over the depression of his mother. You know, sex is a medicine. Gadites, when they talk about sex, they'll say, do they have good medicine? Which means chemistry. All right. So it says, does the Bible advocate arranged marriages? Let me see. Does Krishna? Let me see. Let me click on this. I'm not going to do all this reading. An arranged marriage is one that is brought about by consent of the parents, really the fathers, and of the bride and groom, often without regard to the wishes of the couple to be married. Now, what if the woman didn't like the guy that they arranged for her to get with this guy? He can rape her, okay? And what is that? Exodus 21, a Hebrew man can sell his daughter to another Hebrew man as a slave, a daughter. And the man that purchases the daughter from another Hebrew man, he can either say, you're going to be my wife, or he can say, I'm going to give you to my son. Now, if he lays with the woman, he has to take her in. She's no longer a slave. If he gives the woman to his son, she's no longer a slave. She's as a wife. She's not under slave status no more. Okay? Right here it says, in that case, a trusted servant was sent to Isaac. I just told you that story. Isaac's father, Abraham, to find a suitable bride from his own people, because he did not want Isaac to take a wife from among the heathen Canaanites. Genesis 24, you can read that. So let me come back over here.
So in 2003, you say you started Israel United in Christ. Why did you feel the need to start Israel United in Christ? Because you mentioned that you have the Bible, you discovered who you were through the Bible. But why did you feel that, you know what, I got to create this organization?
Oh, well, I was taught by 7 elders. It was Masha, Ariel, Yaakov, followed by Lahab, Ishaya, Shaw, and Kazak. Those were the 7 elders from 1990 to 1995. Then, end of 1995, the school split. Masha established another school. Yaakov died. Then Yaakov died. They were up in age. They passed away. And things got topsy-turvy. So everyone separated with their own way. So that's when I established in 2003 Israel United. That's what it turned.
Okay. So when people are out here,
And that's when he called me. It was, I believe it was 2002, right before 2003. And we had a long talk over the phone. We never talked after that. Well, one other time when Apostle Ricard ran into him, they were talking, they were down in the city. And I believe he said, call Tahar. So as soon as I got the phone, I talked to him, I started cursing his ass out. And then I said, look, man, I said, nigga, I said, man, get the phone back to Ricard. I don't want to talk to you. You know? Because the first thing he said, what am I doing wrong? I said, what are you doing wrong? I teach Cornelius as an Israelite now, but there was something else I was going to get on him. And he was like, you know, selling wolf, you know, he was bullshit, man. So I said, man, you know, you deal with a guy that's you see bullshit, and you don't want to talk to that person, man. You know? So let's listen to a little bit more.
they see some of the groups in the streets, right?
Yes.
Not that's including your group. It can get confusing for a lot of people because it's like you have so many different camps.
Okay, I clicked the wrong video. No, I'm sorry. No. Let me do this. Okay, we got this. And then we got, bear with me for a minute. Okay, this is 6 minutes in.
Okay, if I can read it, Phil, if I can read it. So I don't want no one to misunderstand. I love my fellow Israelite brothers and sisters, although there's a discrepancy in understanding in terms of polygamy or polygyny of a.
Look, that's between the man. If the man wants to have one wife, he can have one wife. If the man wants to have 5 wives, he can have 5 wives. That's none of your concern. Now, if a guy's a bishop or a deacon, like I said, This is why he promotes some guys to deacons and bishops. So if they do have another wife, he can say, look, brother, you're a bishop. You know what it says about the bishops. And if they say, well, I love this woman, I love the other woman, well, you got to leave. We're going to take your rank and we're going to kick you out. That's what it is, man.
Call it, bear with me, let me find Isaiah chapter 4 and verse, well, here we go.
All right, let me read. Let me go back to that. Isaiah 4 and 1. So that's what it means. That's going to happen before the kingdom. When all hell breaks loose, you're going to have women out there looking for a man, but they're going to be looking for a man of wisdom. And that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. Because this thing is going to happen right before the kingdom. And then the kingdom is going to be ushered in. So you will have men with many numerous wives. But it's going to follow suit in the kingdom as well. And you're going to have more women. That's why it says a little one shall become 1,000 and a strong one a great nation. Meaning you're gonna have so many women, and you're gonna be getting so many women pregnant that you're gonna have a nation of kids. Shit, you might have, 1,000 kids or 10,000 children. Remember, Israel shall be as the sand of the sea and the stars of heaven, right? And how is that going to come? By sex. There's going to be a lot of sex in the kingdom, and the kingdom is going to be on the earth.
Chapter 4 and verse 1. And it reads, it says, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel.
That means we're going to get a job. You don't got to take care of us. We're going to get a job. We're going to sew our own clothes, and we don't need your money. They're not going to say it in the kingdom, because they're not going to be doing that in the kingdom, because we're going to have servants to do that. So that right there shows you that Isaiah 4 and 1 is talking about before the kingdom. Now Isaiah 4 and 2 goes into the establishment of the kingdom. See, the kingdom is already here. It's just not fully established.
Only let us be called by thy name and take away our reproach. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious, and the fruit of the earth.
That's so that the first verse is talking about before the kingdom. The second verse is talking about the establishment of the kingdom. 2 different time periods. Because, like I said, I'm going to say it again for you slow niggas out there. In the kingdom of heaven, you ain't going to be in your castle with your wife and she's getting up early in the morning to go work for somebody or get on a sewing machine. What the fuck we're going to have servants for? So they can do all the goddamn work. You go back to antebellum slavery. By the way, if you don't know what antebellum slavery is, look it up, nigga. Antebellum slavery is antebellum slavery is slavery before the Civil War. That's what that means.
Shall be excellent and comely for them that are escaped of Israel. So right now we have not escaped. We're all still in captivity. I know that under the old covenant or Old Testament, when we were in our own land, we ruled ourselves, we had our own king. We had many different wives. But when you get to the new covenant, the New Testament, we were in captivity. So from captivity, from Assyrian captivity, Babylonian captivity, Greek captivity, Roman captivity, even today, we did not have multiple lives living in captivity.
That's bullshit. Read Nehemiah. We had concubines. And first of all, how you break that shit down? They put us in the captivity. Okay, we're gonna kill all your wives. You got 5 wives. We're gonna kill 4 of them. You can keep 1. No, it doesn't go into detail, man. But when you go to Nehemiah, it speaks about us having more than 1 wife. So what the fuck are you talking about? You adding to the word. And he does this. He's slick with his words, and that's why these guys blindly follow him.
That's what I see in the scripture. These brothers, some sisters disagree with that. So we have to wait for the Lord to come back and straighten the whole.
You don't got to wait for the Lord to straighten nothing out. It's in the scriptures. That's why you think the Most High gave you the scriptures. Now he just admitted something. He said there's some brothers. You talking about the brothers in his congregation that don't go with that, and certain sisters that don't go with that. Well, we'll wait till the Lord come to straighten it out. We just read the scriptures, man. This man is clearly guilty of adding and taking away from the scriptures. And this motherfucker look confused as hell.
All right, so what is the purpose? Okay, so I mean, if it caused a big split, what is the purpose of the multiple wives and the multiple? I guess these women want multiple husbands. I'm not mistaken. What you saying?
Bro, Phil, that didn't cause the split back in 1995. It caused the various groups. Because you asked about the various.
Yeah, the offshoot. Okay, offshoot. So what I'm asking, because even in the African continent, Muslims, the different ones, they do practice, multiple wives. The 2 countries I just went to as of this year is Kenya and South Africa. You would have multiple wives there too. So it's definitely in the African continent. Right. But it was that serious to everybody to have the different camps?
No. What happened is that when the sisters come in, now this is generic speaking. Many brothers, like let's say I got a wife. I do have a wife. Let's say I believe in polygamy, and I get tired of her, and I pass her. Say I don't want her anymore. Mm-hmm. I get another, and that wife is number 3 or number 4, and that's where the problem comes in. Women are discarded. Okay, and I'm like, something ain't right, because this is what the scripture says. If I can get this law for you,
It's in the law. It tells you the duty of marriage. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Let me do this. Basically, you discard it because you hate it, right? Let me do this. Bear me for a minute. I'm sorry. I should know where it is, but let me do this. The law, and if you hate your wife in the Bible. I got to get the law. Bear me for a minute. Damn. Where is it, man? Let me try this. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Bear me for a minute. Okay, Deuteronomy 21. I kind of had an idea. Was I'm getting old. Deuteronomy 21:15. I think this is it. If a man have two wives, in that case, if he had five wives, one beloved and the other hated, and they have borne him children, both the beloved and the hated, and if the firstborn son be heirs, I'm sorry, and if the firstborn son be hers that was hated, let me click on this. I don't have to. Then it shall be when he maketh his sons to inherit that which he hath, that he may not make the son of the beloved wife. That's what it is, beloved wife. It's a beloved first before the son of the hated. Now, even in the royal family of England, the so-called royal family, who's it next in line? This guy Charles is currently the king, right? He had two sons. The oldest son, he's next in line for the king. Now Harry said, "I ain't with it no more. I'm giving up my lordship because I fell in love with this girl." Same thing, same thing. And back there, they had divorce. There was women that hated their men, and the Lord had to straighten that up. The only way you can divorce your woman is if she's committed the act of adultery. So this guy is guilty of adding and taking away.
Watch this. I'm gonna go to Deuteronomy. And don't get me wrong, I do love my brothers, I do love my sisters in the Israelite community. Read this. It says,
Though you call us bums.
Deuteronomy 23:17. There shall be no home of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel. So if you had a wife, you got rid of her. You got three. You get rid of the third one. I shouldn't be taking her. Then I take her. Let's I take her. I get tired of it. Pass her to the next brother. This is formula. It should not go on.
Yeah, well, guess what? Oh, I got another one. I got another one. Give me let me get I believe it's in Leviticus 21, but I'm gonna do it this way. Duty. There we go. I'm sorry, I said Leviticus. I meant to say Exodus 21:10. If he that let me go a verse or two above that. And if he have brother betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of the daughters. That's what I said. I think I said earlier in Leviticus 21. I meant to say Exodus 21. And in this same chapter, let me do this. Let me come up above this. Ordinance for the people. I want to get right to the point. If a Hebrew man sells another Hebrew man into slavery, right, into servitude to another Hebrew man, it says this man worked from 6 years, and then he's let go in the 7th year. When it comes to women, she becomes the guy's servant for life. If a man comes in and falls in love with a fellow servant of this man and owns the Hebrew man and Hebrew woman and has children, he can leave in the 7th year, but the wife and the children have to stay. So normally what happens, if you love your wife, you'll say, I love my master and I will stay with him forever. That's the man. That right is only given to the man, not the woman. So what he does, he puts an awl in his ear. And most of the time that happens. If you come in with your wife, I believe it's right here as well, you can also leave with your wife. I got to go into that. I'm not going to read into it, but somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. It says, if he came in by himself, he shall go out by himself. If he were married, then his wife shall go out. Well, I was right. His wife shall go out with him. If his master, which is the Hebrew, have given him a wife, and she have borne him sons and daughters, and the master said, I want you to lay down with this woman right here. And she had no say in the matter. The wife and the children shall be her masters, and he shall go out by himself. And if the servant, which is a Hebrew, shall plainly say, I love my master, I won't go into this to tell you about the old aul, A-U-L, which is like an earring. Now, this charagma is nothing but an electronic digital oil. That's all it is. So when the Lord comes back, if you got that oil, the Lord cannot save you because you said you wanted Esau to be your master. So the Most High cannot save you even if he wanted to. The Most High is bound by his own prophecies. 21st verse. I'm sorry, 7th verse, 21st chapter, Exodus. And if a man sell his daughter to be a maidservant, meaning the man could do anything he wants to that woman. This is from a Hebrew to another Hebrew. She shall not go out as his maidservants do. If he please not her master, who hath betrothed her to himself, then shall he let her be redeemed to sell her unto a nation, a strange nation, meaning another Israelite. He shall have no power, seeing he have dealt deceitfully with her. 9th verse. And if he have betrothed, engaged her unto his son, he said, I'm not going to deal with you. You young. I want my son to I want to give you to my son. She has no say in the matter. He shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. So if they have a union, then she's no longer a servant. She's part of the family. So she's not called a maid servant anymore. If he take him another wife, her food, her remnant, and her duty of marriage shall he not diminish. So the law says you get a wife, you can't just push her off, especially if you grape her. So what in the hell is this guy talking about? And if he do not these things unto her, then shall she go out free without money. Then she can go out free. That's in the law.
I see in God's law.
You already said that's what I see in God's law. I wouldn't say that. I would say that's what it says. Well, that's how I see it. Well, we're not dealing with that. We're not dealing with your emotional. He's talking about that's how I see it, meaning that's his personal opinion.
So again, I just want to stress, I do love my brothers and sisters. No animosity.
No, he doesn't. Because you wouldn't have marched, you wouldn't have went to them churches, raising hell in them churches. You wouldn't have 2,000 men marching around Geno Jennings' church. That wasn't love. That was intimidation, man.
Towards them, I want everybody to understand.
Okay, yeah, that's very interesting that people don't want to try to build families because even in the Bible they teach you to get with a wife, leave your father and mother, cleave, to your husband, your wife, build a family. We see in the Black community that's the thing that white supremacy attacked with the family.
Right.
And without a proper family structure, then we can't grow, and that's why we're in the condition that we're in.
No, we're in the condition that we're in because of the law, breaking the law, statutes, and commandments. Now, I hope the bishop corrects this guy.
Right. There's an article written by the Arizona Times that says from 1970.
When you get closer with Optimum's new 5-day.
Anyway, you know what, man? Okay, he just agreed with this guy. He said, because we don't have no family structure, that's why when no, we're in the condition that we're in because we broke the law, statutes, and commandments. And that's what he should have said. Anyway, let me close this, man. On to the next one.